we equally need to nurture the younger ones in the same way we would nurture a baby, nurture someone who's maturing into a teenager. You know, all these life lessons, the usual life lessons, you know, how to eat, how to walk, how to dress, how to talk, you know, these simple things. But equally, even in their Christianity, how to pray, how to read the Bible, how to understand, how to meditate. You know, we have this natural gifting from God, which quite all right men may have, but I think for us it's more prominent,
more enhanced.
Exactly. And it's cardinal that, you know, we take note of this and we equally teach what we know. Welcome to Imago Day, a podcast by women for women, where we discuss what it means to be an image bearer. We seek to apply biblical wisdom to everyday life situations for our growth and glorification of God. Hello listeners, welcome to our last podcast of this season. We've had such an exciting and enjoyable time going through different topics such as cultural divide, the importance of mentorship, choices and influence. I have personally learned so much from not only the podcast which myself and Auntie Miriam have participated in, but even when we've had guest speakers come through, I have enjoyed each and every one of them. Auntie Miriam, how's the experience been for you?
It has been such a journey, and being part of our podcast, we hope that you will continue subscribing and listening, giving us your views on the things you've learned, how you would want us to improve our podcast. It has been such a journey, Chimamwe, and I thank God that He has been with us through from the time we started to today, when we can say we are ending the season. And thank you very much, listeners, for listening to our podcast. Yeah,
indeed. I just hope, I've noticed, you know, you go and check the page, you see that there are a number of views, you know, so you can tell that people are actually listening, but there are no comments. So I'm hoping that, you know, as people go back, or even as they listen to this last podcast, they can give us some feedback so that we know what we can improve on or what we can tone down a bit on. I think it will help us even in preparation for the next season.
Indeed, it also help us to grow.
Indeed, yeah. True.
Because where there is criticism, where there is weeding and watering, a plant tends to grow. So we hope to grow as a podcast, and please just send us your views.
Indeed.
So today we're looking at courts explained, like educate a woman, you educate the nation. Behind every successful man, there's a woman. And as we're ending our season, we want to really understand, what do these quotes mean when we hear them or when we say them ourselves? What usually comes to your mind when you hear somebody say, when you educate a woman, you educate the nation? Chimam.
For me personally, I think it just goes back to a woman's position in the family, a woman's position in society. I'll just narrow it down to in a family. You know, the woman is firstly the one who gives birth to the child. So from that point on, they start nurturing the child. They teach the child how to eat on their own. They teach the child how to read, how to walk. You know, how often do you see a man teaching a child how to walk? It's only now, like, quite all right, you see men being a little bit more active in children's lives, but especially a long time ago, you know, the woman always took up that role of teaching. Yes, and that's what I think it means to me, you know, to educate a woman, you educate the nation, or you educate the village. Because the woman will not only teach her child, you find like other people's children will come to the woman's house or to the family house, the woman will be teaching all of them. She won't choose, just my children. Yes, so I think from my view, that's the meaning of educate a woman, educate a nation.
It's actually true. When I was looking at this quote, I really stepped back and thought through my life. I was saying, okay, who really taught me things that I know? It's my mom. I looked around and said, okay, when cooking, my mom. If it's not my mom, it's another it's an aunt, a cousin, and all these are female. So then I thought to myself, really, a woman is a person that is always teaching, no matter what circumstance, where they are, whether you're a mom or not. Because sisters, you find that you teach an older sister will teach a younger sister or a younger brother. So it is true, when you educate a woman, you educate a nation, because women are nurturing in
just their nature. It's just in their nature.
Exactly.
But why do you think this quote is not used on men?
I think men would take it as the opposite. They don't really nurture things too much. They could be caring, but in a different way, like the way women would do it. Because when you leave a child with a man, for example, with a father, I think the first thing when you say, I'm going out, the child will ask, what time are you coming back? Who am I remaining
it's very
with?
true.
Yes. With daddy, what will we be doing? It's like now you really need to, tell daddy what they need to do with it. Now you can play with them this game, you can do this, you can do that with them, or they need to do their homework and things like that. But the moment that work is done, daddy is also doing his own thing, and he cannot multitask. He cannot do
They're
this.
not gifted like that.
Yes, so you find that. Yes, so you find that the way a woman would look after a child is different. I would actually take us to chickens. I know I've used chickens a lot, but when you look at a mother hen and the way she looks after her chicks, she looks for food for them. She covers them. She makes sure they're safe. Everything. So with women, that's what we do. So you find that even in our teaching, when we are teaching the children, when we ourselves have learned something. When we talk about education, by the way, we're not just talking about being in class and learning. We're also learning from our parents, our grandparents, and things like that. So the things that we have learned are the things that I'll teach my child. I'm passing on the tradition. So you'll find that women are people who keep they're custodians of tradition. They'll tell you, I learned this from my mother, who learned it from her mother.
Exactly.
That this is what you need to do. So women in nature, God created us in a way that we nurture things.
Just naturally, yeah, very true.
We are huggers, I would say. We know how to help something grow. Because with a child, from, like you said, from the time that they are babies to the time that they are grown up, you see how a mother would nurture that baby, will feed the baby. There are times we lose our temper, but we won't abandon the baby completely. But we're there to help the baby each step of the way. So you find that it is like that wherever we go. I would go to school, I will find that in my peers, some of my peers won't be as mature as I am. You'll find that the person who is more mature will nurture the others. And then everybody else is growing together. Wherever you go. In secondary school, we had issues of having play moms.
Play moms.
Yes, so those play moms are nurturing the younger ones. And there we go. I've never heard of play dads, so I'm yet to find out. But play moms tend to nurture. And from there you find, even when you're playing with your friends, there'll always one who is a little bit older and a little bit more mature, and she'll guide you in the things that you do. It won't be, you'll figure it out on your own. Yes, there are things we can say, okay, you learn, but they're always there to help us walk through things.
Exactly. Yeah. I think it's very interesting, and I think very important for us as women to realize just how serious the gift of nurturing is. Because when we just go back to a biblical overview, we equally need to nurture the younger ones. in the same way we would nurture a baby, nurture someone who's maturing into a teenager. You know, all these life lessons, the usual life lessons, you know, how to eat, how to walk, how to dress, how to talk, you know, these simple things. But equally, even in their Christianity, how to pray, how to read the Bible, how to understand, how to meditate. You know, we have this natural gifting from God, which quite all right men may have, but I think for us it's more prominent.
Yeah, more enhanced.
Exactly. And it's cardinal that, you know, we take note of this and we equally teach what we know. And I think, like you said, you find sometimes it's the older ones who know more than the younger ones. And certain things like experience assist with teachings as well.
Yes. And
it's things like that which we need to take advantage of when we see younger people. You know, we've spoken about mentorship before. It's things like that, you know. The nation will be educated through what we as women have learned, what we've experienced, what we've gone through. And, you know, if we decide to keep it to ourselves, we're not helping those who are in need. Yeah. We're being selfish, so to say.
Yeah. And, you know, the biggest thing I would say is our podcast has been, we've been looking at us being made in the image of God. Me as a person who is made in the image of God, how do I take this quote? When you educate me, you educate the nation. It means that where I am, I should be able to go out and evangelize. Exactly. Because I'm educating the nation. When I was thinking through this podcast topic, I was actually saying, it's actually true. Look at Timothy and the way he was taught by his mother and his grandmother. Yeah, we know that his father was probably not a Christian, maybe, but you see the way the mother took him up. He was a young boy who was taught by his mother and his grandmother, who ended up being a pastor. So the role of us women as mothers, as educators, is very, very important. We should not take our work very lightly and let the world teach our children. Exactly. We are to nurture them in a way that would glorify God. We need to bring them up, to teach them so that they learn and grow up to be responsible people.
And the good part is if they're taught well, they equally pass it on.
Pass it on.
Exactly.
Yes. So it's quite interesting because we just use the term maybe loosely. Oh, educate a woman, you educate a nation. But the type of woman that we're educating, we're saying this woman will pass on information. What information am I passing on to my daughter that I would love to pass on to her daughter
and also her friends,
and the children in the neighborhood? So it all begins at home. So me as a parent, my education, the things that I learned from my parents, the things that I learned elsewhere with the women that I met at church, and what is it that I'm giving you that will feed you, that will help you grow, so that you can also pass on to others. Yeah. I think it's a very big task that we have at hand. We should not think about life as if it's just a walk through.
We can't afford to take it lightly. Not at all.
No, we can't. Yeah. So that was one of the quotes. And there's this other one. Behind a successful man, there's a woman.
I'd like to hear your thoughts on this one.
Behind every
especially because you are a wife, you're looking at it from a different perspective.
Behind every successful man, there's a woman. Well, I would begin to say, as much as we say behind a successful man, there is always a woman. Yes, women are meant to be helpers. And we are called to help our husbands. We are called to help our parents and everything else. But I was there was a point I was thinking, as much as behind a successful man, there's a woman. In God's eyes, we are all considered to be the same. God does not look at us differently. He created us in his image, and we'll both be accountable. When you look at Adam and Eve, what happened in the Garden of Eden when they sinned, God asked, "Where are you?" They said they were not dressed, so they were hiding. And then he actually punished both the woman and the man the same. He said, "You, this is your punishment for this. You, this is a punishment for that." So in God's eyes, yes, we are equal. In terms of our spiritual growth, our eternal life, I would say, put it that way. But in terms of responsibilities, God gave us different responsibilities. So God made a woman to be more like a helper, a comforter, a person that is there to more like give advice or be the backbone. Because if you're telling me that I'm behind a successful man, then I'm the one who is there to wipe the tears. I'm the one who is there to say, by God's grace, we can do this. I'm the one who is there to say, maybe we are doing it wrongly, to give right criticism, to give an encouragement, to give strength, or sometimes to just be quiet, to sit there and be quiet and just listen to a person. I don't know if you've noticed, or maybe it's just me, men tend to be a lot more hard-headed. You know, when they put their mind on something, or when they make a decision on something, it's very hard for you to change, or for them to just personally change their mind. And I think that's where we come in as women, you know, with our softer voices, with a bit more reasoning, we're able to, you know, guide them, direct them, and show them, okay, no, you know, I think you should maybe try this and this. I think maybe, you know, try going this direction. I was reading something interesting today, where some, in reference to the same quote, where some woman was expressing her feelings, saying that, you know, when she read that, after going to Genesis and seeing Adam and Eve's story, and seeing that Eve was only, according to her, she was saying Eve was only created because now Adam was bored, you know. So now us women, what are we for? We're only being created just to, you know, entertain men, to just, you know, and we're also coming in as a helper. I mean, what's our role? And then she says someone had told her this interesting quote. I'll just read it to you. It says, "To a man, the affirmation of his girlfriend, and especially his wife, is his everything. When he knows his partner has his back, he fights harder, works better, and feels on top of the world." So ideally, for her, this now changed her perspective of okay, I'm not just an afterthought. You know, I am there to support, I'm there to help, to make this person better. I'm not doing it, not because, okay, the Adam in inverted commas is bored. No. By the way. You're trying to help this person to be a better person, not just for themselves, but especially like in a family. If you're supporting a husband, you know that he's going to be more productive, which most likely means even the home will be happier, to have more food. I mean, we know that a man is a provider. Exactly. Yes. Rentals are paid, school fees are paid, and all these things. Because sometimes, you know, men get stressed at work, men get stressed with so many things, with holding up the family, not only the family at home, but even, you know, the extended family. Exactly. And you're just there to support them. You're just there to help them to be the best that they can be. But that does not mean that you're the tail. No. Ideally, you're complementing each other. You're not trying to show who's better, who's worse, who's the head. You are the no. Ideally, exactly. We're just trying to, as women, complement men. Yes. When I want to take us to Proverbs chapter 31. Here is a woman, a mother, telling her son what type of woman he should marry. He's explaining to him that actually beauty is just not on the face, but a noble woman should be like this. You take an example of a Proverbs 31 woman and see what she is doing. She's actually in charge of everything.
Exactly.
at her home. She looks after her kids, she provides food, she's an entrepreneur, and look at where her husband is. He is at the gate. Is it the marketplace where in the scriptures where they're saying that he is praised by his friends because he's got a person who is an organizer,
exactly,
who has organized everything in such a way that there's no stress. Because if there's no stress, my husband won't be able to go to work and do the work properly because he'll be wondering what is happening at home.
Exactly.
Whether my kids will be able to go to school or be picked up from school, or whether my kids' clothes will be washed because I need to be at home. He won't supervise both his at work and his home. So the husband was able to sit at the marketplace and do what he needed to do to help with the judging of the people of Israel. And here is a mother whose children wake up to praise her because she's taught her well. She's the one who is doing the teaching. The children tend to get up and praise them because when you ask any child, they'll tell you, my mom is the one who taught me to do this. I know at times we don't tend to say, I will praise my mom because she did it, but we say it in different ways. Everything that I know is because of my mom.
Exactly.
My mom taught me how to do this. Oh, you know how to sew? Yes, I learned from my mom. Oh, you know how to do? Yes, I learned how to bake from my mom. So here is a woman who is so equipped. She was taught well by her parents, and she's advising her son to say, when you go and marry, this is a person that you should look for.
Woman, exactly.
And behind the husband is a success at the meeting place. He's not in a rush to go and look for money to go and buy food because his wife has gathered,
taking care of
everything in advance. So there's a success you can actually see. She is behind the scenes. He is well dressed. He nice suits, always smart. But here's a woman who wakes up early in the morning, make sure that the maids are doing their work. The kids' lunch is packed. Food, the husband has got breakfast before he goes out for work. Probably even packs the packed lunch for him. And she's able to walk him to the car and go for work. And if we put it in our setting now. So it is indeed a big thing. That's a big role that we play as women. And the success that we see in our children, in our husbands, in our brothers, it's because we've been there as a support system, as a backbone. We have helped them when they were going to go a different direction. We say, no, this is the way that we should go. So that is Proverbs 31. And then when you read Proverbs chapter 1 and verse 8, here is Solomon telling his son that you should listen to your mother's law. You should wear it as a crown on your head. You should wear it as a chain in your neck. And when we wear those things on the head and on the neck, it's like a chain always brings you back. When I think of a chain, I'm thinking about, I think of the way we put a leash on a dog. When a dog is trying to go astray, if I'm holding the chain, I'll bring it back. It's like here, my mom has taught me this. If I go astray, that chain will bring me back and say, no, but this is not me.
Exactly.
My mom taught me this. So
my mom taught me better.
Exactly. So Solomon is encouraging, wear it as a chain in your neck. So the role of a woman is it's a big thing. It's a foundation. And I know that in some cases, there's some children or some women who think, no, I know it better. I'll learn probably from TV. I'll learn probably from a book. There's a difference between fiction and reality. Yeah. So that's what I think.
That's very true. I just hope the listeners will equally be able to just realize just how big of a role they have to play as women, not only for the success of their husbands or their partners, but even just for the family, for their community, for their family at large. And I just hope that even all the other lessons that we've had during this season have been impactful, the same way they have been for us. It would be sad to know that we as the speakers are the ones who have been impacted by what we've taught.
Yes, it's true.
I believe they've equally been impacted greatly, and that, all glory at the end has gone to God.
Indeed.
Yes.
Indeed. And that we should remember that as women, we do have a major role to play in the lives of our children, in the lives of our fellow sisters at church, our neighbors, because if you're a Christian woman and if you are an educator, as we have said, then please go out there and proclaim the gospel. Teach what you've been taught. Grow one another. Nourish one another. Let us grow together in the things of the Lord, so that together we can indeed glorify God. Yeah.
Indeed.
Thank you very much for being with us throughout this podcast and for listening to us. We pray that you have been educated
and blessed
by the topics that we had, and we hope that you'll be with us even as we go into our next season as we end this podcast. Thank you very much.